What a weekend. March Madness, St. Patty's Day, almost got struck by lightning. Well, I didn't get struck by lightning, but it sure looks like my bracket did. And unless you live in the nether regions of Pennsylvania or Virginia, yours probably doesn't look that good either. I was doing so good! Check it out, 14-2 the first day, Friday started off well, then boom, nothing. It's already tough enough to pick upsets as is, but two seeds Duke and Missouri both handed Norfolk State and Lehigh their first tournament wins ever. Lehigh University had never even been to the big dance before Friday's win, but Duke has seen its first round exits before. Let's not forget they were the ones who gave VCU their sterling reputation as a perennial Cinderella squad in 2007. That brings me to my two big Sweet 16 matchups for this weekend. Why two? How much free time do you have? And why the change in scenery? You ask too many questions. Now, VCU won't get to top their Final Four run from last year, but they did get a chance to knock off number 5 Wichita State before bowing out to Indiana in the second round. The first one jumps right off the page with Kentucky and Indiana meeting in the South region for a rematch. These two first met back in December for a true nail-biter that ended with a last-second victory for the Hoosiers. That proved to be Kentucky's only non-conference loss for the season, but the Cats bounced back winning the SEC regular season title and the overall number 1 seed for the tournament. Bottom line, both teams have the firepower to win this game, but I'll be looking for the team that can control the paint to advance to the next round. In their first matchup, Indiana held a 28-26 advantage on the boards, but overall Kentucky is a top 20 team in rebounding, while the Hoosiers can't even crack the top 100. Cody Zeller leads the crew from Bloomington with 6.5 boards a game, but here's a hint. There are 3 guys on the Wildcat roster who average over 7, including Consensus Player of the Year Anthony Davis. Overall, I'm not saying the Hoosiers don't have a shot in this game, but in the end, I think Kentucky will just be too much to handle. Momentum plus revenge may even equal a blowout victory for a Kentucky team that's hitting its stride. For Kentucky, it's fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, and John Calipari is the next head coach for the Knicks. Alright, now before I move on, I will admit I have a small personal stake in this next matchup. Hear me out. The Orangemen were able to put away several distractions and a suspension, and they still ended up having a pretty good season. But they don't have their star center Fab Melo, who was ruled academically ineligible. And their opening round against UNC Asheville was about as convincing as Brittany's first wig. Add that to the fact that they just beat a Kansas State team that had to suspend their best post player, and there's a lot of dangerous, scrappy team like Wisconsin can do. I was going to go with Michigan State, but every time a team plays the Spartans, the game kind of turns into a T-Mobile commercial. At this point in my show, I'd like to address the NASCAR fans because I don't get to mention the sport too much, and for that I apologize. I know NASCAR is very complex, and I'll be the first one to admit I don't understand it at all. And technically, I fear what I don't understand. I see what's going on in the pits and the jockeying for position, but to me, in the end, all a NASCAR race ends up looking like is... Well, I'm Jimmy Johnson. This is just a regular day at the office. Well, dadgummit. What in tarnation? Well, it can't get any worse. But, oh, that's dad-nabbit. Oh, man. Look, what is Danica doing? Woman, have you lost your mind? You see, this is why I don't let the women folk drive. Just kidding, ladies. I love you all when I'm driving. There are a couple cool things about NASCAR drivers too, though. You can almost guarantee a fight after every race. Or at the very least, a healthy rally of the English language. NFL free agency has been buzzing lately with high-profile signings and players switching teams, and the biggest free agent of them all has finally picked his brand new franchise. It's true, Manning Watch 2012 finally came to an end Tuesday morning when Peyton Manning told his agent to complete negotiations with the Denver Broncos. I mentioned several candidates last week, but San Francisco, Denver, and Tennessee all made a late push and held separate workouts for Manning this week and last week. Denver gives Peyton a chance to work with one of the all-time greats in John Elway, who was able to win several championships late in his career. Plus, it also gives him a chance to become a new cornerstone in a Denver squad that's looking to make a deeper playoff run next year. The 49ers were probably his best shot at the Super Bowl with a ready-made team and a good coach, plus they were stockpiling talent at the wide receiver position. Manning to Randy Moss would have been so cool! Tennessee was the last team to try to sway Manning, and some labeled it a courtesy call, but consider the options. Peyton began his legend in Tennessee. He would get to stomp the Colts twice a year. He had his health to consider, and the Titans' offensive line allowed the second least sacks in the league all last year. Add all that to the fact that he just celebrated his wedding anniversary with his wife in Knoxville the day of his workout with the Titans. Did I mention his wife was from Tennessee? Honey, break out the Oreos and Gatorade. We're coming home. Not so fast. Tennessee was already settled at quarterback with Matt Hasselbeck and first-round draft pick Jake Locker. Were they really going to trade both of those guys away for a shot at Manning? You better believe it. And that's the show for this week. Leave me a comment below the video on Facebook or YouTube and let me know what you think. But until next week, I'm Seth Hagen, and this has been your Sports Check. Later. I swear if this boy don't get off my tail, I'm going to be raising heck fire tonight. Oh, man, I knew I should have watched more Sports Check.